Good afternoon, Tamara. Here's your machine, the Breville Barista Express BES870 in silver. So, as you saw in the photos, this is a good condition machine. I would give it a 7 out of 10. Some standard wear and tear on the front here, some scratches, a small dent here, and general signs of wear, but I will be giving this a full clean after the video, so it'll look really good. I think it's standard wear and tear, this one. But on the inside it works absolutely fine, just like new, no issues whatsoever. And now it's ready to make a coffee, so let's start from the beginning. So when you turn it on, it will take about a minute to turn on and warm up. When you see these buttons light up, that means it's ready to make a coffee. So you can leave the machine on for maybe 15-20 minutes and it'll warm up things like the top lid here, the handle, the group head. But if you just turned it on and you want to make sure it's piping hot before making the coffee, you can just run a blank shot. So that a blank shot is where you put the handle on without any coffee and you put your cup just to run some hot water through the system to warm things up. And it sort of rinses the machine as well, so if there's any coffee grounds, it'll get rid of those as well. You can do half of your cup or the whole cup, it's up to you really. You can do that once or twice. You can also use the hot water tap over here. It'll give you clean hot water straight from the boiler. If you turn the dial the other way, it'll give you steam. But we won't be doing any steam anytime soon. We'll keep the cup on the side. When you take out the water filter, make sure to dry it. You want to grind the coffee into a dry cup. So, a dry basket, so this is the double basket. This takes 18 grams of ground coffee, so we'll be adjusting the grinder to give us 18 grams. 18. So I'm using my scale here to measure the input and the output of the coffee. The grind size at the moment is at number 3. You want to change this depending on the speed and the pressure of your coffee. So I think number 3 is in the right ballpark, but we might need to change that. And that will also depend on what beans you'll be using. So with the beans that I'm using, the Aldi brand, at the moment I think number 3 is in the right ballpark. And the only way to know is to make a coffee and see if the pressure is in the right spot and if the flow comes out in the right amount of time. Anyway, this is the grind amount, that's how much it will grind for. So let's keep it at 12 o'clock. This is the filter size, so double and single. I personally like to keep it on single even if I'm doing a double shot. And this is a double basket. So click once. This is how much the machine gave us. Let's see how much that is. And that's about 7.5 grams. So we'll put it maybe at 2 o'clock and let's test it again at the 2 o'clock position. If you hold the grind button, if you hold it for 5 seconds, it will only grind for 5 seconds. So that's a manual option if you wanted to top up your coffee grounds. That's 9 grams, so that's my first dose. I'm missing the temper, I think it's somewhere here. Here it is. So I'm going to temp my first dose, then grind again, 2 o'clock position. Alrighty, that's more like it. Let's see how much this is. It's about 8 grams. might try that here. Let's see. I'm just trying to set it up so that it's ready to go when you get the machine. Okay. Let's try that again. So you grind your first dose, you tamp it nice and firm, then you grind again. Hopefully this time it should give us 9 grams of ground coffee at the, what's that? That's the 4 o'clock position. Okay, looks good. Yeah, that's definitely much better. So let's say 3 o'clock. Keep it at 3 o'clock, and I think that will give you 9 grams each click. You know, look, it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be in the right ballpark. Make sure you don't overdose by too much. So if you put, say, 20 grams or 22 grams, that'll be way too much coffee and you won't be able to lock in the pour filter. And if you do, that might put too much stress on the machine. If you underdose, your coffee will be watery and runny. So you want to be about 17, maybe maximum 19 grams of ground coffee in there. Once you have the full dose, which in this case is 18 grams. Once you have the full 18 grams in there, great. You want to flatten the coffee with your palm or with your fingers. You don't want to be tapping an uneven surface. You want to try your best to make sure it's flat before you go in there with the tamper. Take the tamper out, bunch up the coffee, almost like that. Then press it nice and firm. Make sure you apply even pressure all around and make sure it's flat, it's not wonky or whatever. That's about right. So as you see here, when you have 18 grams in there, and then you press it down with the tamper only goes as deep as this part here, the silver cap. So that's the depth that you want to look for. So if you're in a hurry or if you don't have a scale and you want to know that you have the right amount of coffee, when you press it down, nice and firm, that's the depth that the tamper would go to. If it sits up here, then and not any lower, then that's too much coffee. And of course, if it sits very deep into the basket, that's too little coffee. Back, make sure you clean the edges. Maybe give it another rinse. Just to make sure it's nice and hot. Here's my cup here, I'm going to dunk all the hot water. And I'm going to measure the output. You want to add your sugar, sweetener, whatever, at this stage before pouring the espresso. And then when putting the handle, lock it in at least to the dead center position. Don't force it. You don't have to always go all the way to the right. At the moment, it's nice and tight at 6 o'clock position, so I might just keep it there. But maybe in the future, you might have to push it a little bit to the right as the machine wears out. All right, I'm going to start the shot now. So I'm going to try to time it as well, and I might stop it if it runs too little or too much. But yeah, these buttons are programmable and you can make them to whatever length you prefer. That should all be in the manual. I'm going to time it and make sure you pay attention to the pressure. You want it to be around 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock. Perfect, that's 1 o'clock pressure. Very nice and smooth flow. It's perfect. going to stop it right there. 25 seconds. Let it drip, drip, drip. We've got some very nice flow, some good crema. And we got 36 grams, so perfect. So the aim with my shots, I'm always aiming for a 2-to-1 ratio. So for every gram of ground coffee, I want 2 grams of liquid espresso. So in this case, we got pretty much 36 in 25 seconds. 25 seconds for the shot from the button press. Timing is important because you want it to be between 20 to 30 seconds, and we got it dab right in the middle, or dab smack in the middle. Yeah, so this is a perfect shot, I would say. If it was any quicker, I would make my grind size 1 click finer and try again. If it was any slower, I would make my grind size 1 click coarser and try again. In this case, it was perfect, so I'll keep it as is. You may need to change it depending on what beans you're using. And I'm gonna add some hot water from the kettle just to make it into a long black coffee. And yeah, it's ready to make another coffee now. So if you're done with your session, of course you want to clean the old coffee and remove that, knock it into your knock box, which by the way I do have one if you're interested. And then run a blank shot. So a blank shot is just like before, just the double button. This time to rinse any coffee grounds and oils. So sort of like 2 birds, 1 stone. It'll clean everything. And I'll stop it there. Maybe every week or so, or every few days, you want to grab a tissue and wipe the group head and the shower screen. And the rubber seal on here as well, just to keep it nice and fresh. And that's an espresso on the Barista Express. If you want to make it into a cappuccino or a latte, you have to steam some milk. So turn on the steamer, wait maybe 10-15 seconds until it starts steaming. When you hear the pumping gauge, that's when it's ready to go. That's about full pressure when you hear the pumping gauge. Yeah, so that's about full pressure. I was gone for a second, sorry. But yeah, once it reaches pressure, I would grab my milk jug, turn it off, put in the milk, make sure the milk is about halfway, and then turn it back on. Make sure the tip is close to the surface of the milk and that it's at an angle so that it spins the milk in a circle. And then I would stop when the milk is too hot to handle. When you turn it off, it'll give you about 5 seconds, and then after that it will cool down and it will go back to coffee mode. And you see the buttons later. And that's all. Of course, always make sure to clean the wand. So there's always going to be milk, and it'll be really, really hot. So if you want to keep your machine nice and clean, you want to remove that as soon as you can. And also give it a purge, so just turning it on, just to push steam and push all the milk out of the pipes in here, or the pipe. Yeah, that's the Barista Express. Hope you enjoy it. If you have any questions, feel free to message me. I'm always available to help. And yeah, I'll see you soon. Thanks.